all ready to go?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, we're getting ready to start here with Coach Avent and Reed Johnston, who's going to be the starting pitcher tomorrow, and Josh McClain. I'll let Coach open up with a few words. There are mics in the room for you guys. Please talk into the mics so we can get this for these guys. We'll start with Coach Avent.
Well, I just want to say congratulations on our ball club. I've had the pleasure of coaching here for 22 years. The last 22 years, had the pleasure of being here as an assistant with Ray Tanner too. So I got a long history with NC State and love affair with NC State. But I never try to use the words best or most or those kind of things. You love all your ball clubs; they're all different. And the text I've gotten from Kisner texted me last night. He's in AAA, but he takes the time to text. Call Brock Deatherage, Trey Turner, Brett Austin, Carlos, they're all know, they're keeping up with what's going on no matter what they got going on in their life. And back from the old days of Dan Plesac to Mike Dempsey, I'm Monty Tao, I'm hearing from everybody. But I want to congratulate this club from start to finish. They have been committed, and I'm talking about the fall, committed to doing things the right way on and off the field in the classroom. Several of them graduated, and most are on track to graduate. And but when the college athletics framework was put together, which we know probably isn't the way it started out, these guys do it the old school way. They do it the right way. And I've been proud of all the clubs I've coached here, but I've never been more proud of a group of individuals. That's such a mix of freshmen that have played a lot and older guys who have made such a huge commitment for so many years to do it the right way. And they're ready to play. They've had a heck of a year, very consistent, had a great week of practice, and we're looking forward to this regional.
Questions? JC?
Army steals a lot of bases. Your catcher is one of the best. How do you see that matchup, and what is it about the catcher position that you've been able to recruit it so well for several decades?
You know, I can say that I appreciate you recognize that. We've been so fortunate here. It's almost like, you know, USC, what were they, running back you or whatever, I can't remember all the Penn State linebacker you in the football terms. And we don't use that in baseball. We've had so many good catchers here, so many center fielders. And I will say this, I don't use the word best, but I've had Kyle Wilson and Brett Williams. Everybody remembers the sensational player he was, and Matt Camp. We've had so many great center fielders. There has never been a better one in NC State than Josh McClain. The 4 years he's put together, I might could say he's the best center fielder ever played here. And but we've had great center fielders, great shortstop, third baseman. We've had so many positions that have been done well for years. So yeah, they have a good running team. Our pitchers' whole runner's pretty good, and we have great throwing catchers. So that's why people come out to see it. They want to see who wins in those areas.
And NC State is quarterback you, Coach.
Without question. I thought that was just a known, a given.
Reed, for yourself, obviously you've had the opportunity to get some pretty big spot starts. Obviously, looking back, you've kind of turned yourself into a starting pitcher now at this point. How big of a deal is it to get the ball on the first game of the regional, and especially being a freshman starting out?
You know, it feels good. You know, I take it, you know, to my heart. It feels good. And I mean, I didn't really see myself starting pitcher, you know, at the beginning of the year, but I mean, I've been thrown out there a lot. And, you know, I'm just going to try to keep doing what I do, you know, just pound the zone and you know, a bunch of people ask me if I'm a bit nervous or whatnot, but I mean, I've thrown it in front of a bunch of big crowds, and, you know, I expect us to have a pretty big crowd tomorrow night. So, I mean, I'm just going to take it like I take every game and just attack like I do.
He's a lot more nervous doing this than he'll be tomorrow night.
Josh, you guys have faced some great pitching down the stretch here and could potentially face arguably the best in the country in Casey Mize with Auburn. What's the approach going to be like if you have to go up against a guy like him?
No, it's pitching we've faced before. I know I'm a senior. I've seen guys, you know, guys at Carolina who throw, you know, the same style that he does, hard thrower with, you know, good all speed. So, you know, we got a veteran team with some freshman guys that have stepped up and learned from us. So, you know, it's something we've done before, something we work on in practice. You know, we're just going to come out and, you know, get a scouting report and then go from there.
Gary in the back.
Elliot, outside of the people that have been out for the year, you pretty much got everybody at full go now going into this tournament. What's it mean to have a relatively healthy ball club on this kind of stage?
Yeah, and Gary, we haven't talked about injuries all year, so you know it because you're on the inside, but we haven't talked about it to the media or anybody all year. It's just not what we do. And every club has their own things they have to deal with. But we've had some injuries this year throughout, which has been the most amazing part for me. When I talk about this team over other teams, we probably had more injuries this year than probably 5 or 6 teams put together from the past ball clubs. And how they've overcome that is amazing to me. And it's the leadership of this ball club, the toughness of this ball club, and the unwillingness to just give in. They just don't do it. So, but with the exceptions of the guys that we've lost for the year, this is either the healthiest we've been all year or the healthiest they're telling me. Sometimes these guys won't tell me. They're like my dad. Went to see my dad yesterday. He's 91. He'll never tell me the aches and pains he got. He says he always feels good. Our guys are like that too. And they don't want you to know. They hide it, and they just show up to play. So when I talk about this ball club, it's your question that probably sets them apart from any ball club I've ever had.
Chip.
Well, at least the head coach doesn't have a snake bite to hold
Not
him
yet.
back.
Not yet, but we ain't there yet.
Now, I was going to ask
I blew the yard this morning. I think I saw one. Go ahead.
Now, I was going to ask you about the importance of the first game. You've been in this situation a lot of times. It's a double elimination tournament, but how important is it to get off to a good start in that first game and not have to go through loser's bracket, which can push your bullpen
Going
in?
through the loser's bracket can be done. It's been done, and but it's difficult. It's difficult, and you know you probably gotta have a lot of pitching to get this thing done. And of course, we got a really offensive ball club and a team that can steal bases and run. You know, you mentioned Army can run. We can run a little bit too. So we present a lot of problems for teams offensively, and we can wear some pitching down. So this club would have a chance if that happens, but it's a much more difficult path.
Down front.
Coach, the draft first round starts Monday night. There could be a game here on Monday night. After all these years, the dates moved around, but it always lands in the middle of the tournament somewhere. How do you manage that when you've got guys that are getting ready for a big game, but also thinking about what the next step's going to be?
Yeah, as a coach, you don't manage that at all. The player has to manage that. You know, you try to, when you're a coach in college, I hope you don't just teach baseball. I hope you teach about life and what you're going to do when baseball's over and what you do, how you become guys like we have here that did an excellent job in school, excellent job in the community, and they got that from their parents. All you do is kind of guide them a little bit. That's been done way before they got here. But so I don't talk about it at all. It's something they have to manage, but they have to manage it all year. I mean, the draft is the finality like your final exam, but all year they've been looked at, and scouts have called them, and agents have called them. You know, they've dealt with that all year. It's just that's the finality. But I think you try to make sure your team always stays in the moment, no matter what happens in the past, no matter if you're 0 for your last 17 or 4 for your last 5, or if you've walked the last 2 or you've retired 12 in a row. You always stay in the moment. And when you learn to stay in the moment, then you put that stuff aside.
Corey.
Josh, for yourself, you know, looking at the amount of hits that you've been able to rack up this year, I believe it's at about 85, 86, somewhere around there at this point, leads the ACC. What has gone into your consistency at the plate throughout the season?
I know my approach always, start of a game, is always get one hit. You know, I've been a leadoff guy or two-hole guy all year, and when I get on base, I can let the guys behind me, you know, do what they do. So, you know, it's just about getting one each day. You know, if you get one, then you worry about the next one, the next at bat. So, you know, trying to get one each day, each game, and then it kind of just rolls from there. The approach changes pitcher to pitcher, so I just can't really tell you what the approach is because I would go on all day about it. But, you know, it's getting on base for my guys and then letting, you know, the 4 guys behind me, you know, do work behind me. So that's just how it is.
And Reed, for you, how much of the senior leadership behind you, obviously being a freshman starting pitcher, How much has that senior leadership kind of helped guide you and get you to a point where you're confident on the mound?
Yeah, I mean it's been huge because, you know, I've kind of become close friends with Johnny Piedmont and Joe O'Donnell and Brian Brown, and you know they've been around for quite a few years, and you know they've given me some pointers, and you know every time I have questions about something, I go to them, and you know they're my biggest supporters. And you know I got people like Josh and Brock and the position players. You know I know they're out there in the outfield behind my back. You know I don't have anything to worry. I just let them do the work behind me. So it's been huge.
Great answer.
JC.
Great answer.
Elliot, you always want to be playing your best ball at the end of the year, and I wonder, confidence-wise, where is this team as you head into the NCAA tournament?
It's good. You know, some people have talked about that because I watch the news, and I don't read much, but I watch the news, and I'll hear that, you know, maybe I hear different words to describe how this team's come down the stretch. This team's come down great down the stretch. Matter of fact, if we could have avoided Florida State for 4 games, you'd be talking about how great we've done down the stretch. But Florida State is one of the best teams in the country. That's why they're a national seed, and they're playing their best ball of the season and the most healthy they've been by far all year. And so I think, as I said in my opening statement, consistency-wise, this is the most consistent team I've ever had, and we've played from start to finish as well as I've ever seen it done since I've been here. But so when I hear people talk about down the stretch, I kind of wonder, when's the last major league team that went like 150-12? And you know, and the Dolphins record, there's a reason it's never been broken. So I wouldn't say if the you know, a great football team, the Chicago Bears, you know, if they went 13-0 and ended up 14-2, I wouldn't say they were scuffling down the stretch. You run into good teams, you lose ball games, and that's what happens. And as I wouldn't say the Houston team blew it or the Celtics team blew it. When you're playing great teams, there's a winner and there's a loser, but it's not like it was because of what you did. This has been the most consistent team I've had in 22 years, start to finish, bottom line.
Josh, what is the secret to hitting here at Doak? This team is so much better hitting. I think it's 80 points higher here at home than it is on the road. And how important is it for you all to be at home for this region?
You know, it's comfortability. You know, you're here every day practicing, taking BP every day. You're taking it in the morning, you're taking it in the evening, you're taking it at night. So, you know, we know this park better than any other park that we played in because it's our field. So, you know, playing at home is huge. So we, you know, the pitchers know the mound, the guys in the outfield know, you know, how to read balls. You know, we got a great batter's eye behind in center field. It's just comfortable here. You know, you're comfortable at home. You hit at home. You field at home. Everything's just much better at home.
For Reed, any experience that you can take away from the ACC tournament opener, and then also how's it helped having Patrick to kind of share this journey with you this year?
You know, the ACC tournament wasn't, you know, my best. I mean, it was a good experience, but you know, it wasn't my best outing. So, you know, I'm going to learn from that and you know, take a few pointers from that and move on. And you know, hope for the best tomorrow night. But I mean, he's awesome back there. You know, I came with him last summer, and you know, I've kind of got to know him better than I've known any other catchers. And you know, I live with him back in the apartment. So, I mean, it's just like a comfortability thing. You know, I spend a lot of time with him, and we talk about, you know, pitching stuff in our free time when we're hanging out. And it's just good to get to know him because I feel comfortable with him back there, and I know he trusts me. So, I mean, it helps out a lot.
About 2 more questions.
Elliot, you mentioned the other day that Johnny Piedmont is the healthiest he's been all year. Is he potentially someone who's available to start a potential 3rd game in this tournament?
Oh, absolutely. He's available to come in tomorrow night. He's available to start the 3rd game. He's available in any role. That's the thing about Johnny Piedmont. He's done it all here, from closed games to early middle relief and gone 5 or 6 innings to complete game against the Navy in the regionals 2 years ago. Johnny's run the whole gamut here at NC State, so he's available in all roles.
Last question here, Corey.
It's kind of a 2-part last question, sorry. But first of all, seeing that patch on the side of the jersey there, the Team Chris Combs, first of all, how important is that for you? And then for Josh as well, just the seniors overall, how important is this last chance at, you know, getting to a super regional and continuing to advance out of here?
That's for me.
Yes.
Oh, that's, I mean,
first part for you.
I mean, that's why we're wearing this jersey. This jersey is a little bit for BP. I mean, it's pretty humid out there. The heat index is going to go up tomorrow even higher. And but this is about Chris Combs. You know, he was a senior on my first team here. Coming back to NC State was everything to me. You know, there's two things that I've loved a lot in my life outside of family, and that's baseball and NC State. And they got married together when I came back here to follow Ray, a person I have tremendous respect for and a person that's meant a lot to me in my life. But it's so Chris is on that first team, and that was a very special team to me. It was a very special year that we all look back and we all keep in touch on that team. And I just can't say enough about Chris Combs or the Combs family for what they've meant to NC State, and that includes Frank Whedon. And so wearing this jersey and this patch is exactly because of Chris Combs, one of the greatest competitors, a guy who loved NC State more than me, and that's a lot. And he means a lot to me and has grown to mean a lot to our players because he sets an example. We all have heroes who do things we wish we could do. And with the dignity and class that he's fought this horrid disease with has been something we can all look up to, and it gives us strength to go through any daily minuscule things that we might face. So this is all about Chris Combs. There's no question about that. I'm sorry, once you asked that, I didn't hear the second part of the question.
Second part's for Josh.
Oh.
About
Talking about his comeback for Super Regional. You know, I know me and Brock came back for our senior year. We had a chance to go out and play in pro ball. And ever since I made a decision, you know, I was happy with it. And come back and having a good year and with a good team, you know, it meant a lot to me and, you know, made the decision a lot easier. So I've had fun this year, and we put ourselves in a situation, you know, to play at home and, you know, play postseason, play for a super regional, play for a College World Series. You know, it's big to be at home, you know, with our guys. And, you know, if you had told me that we wouldn't do this last year, maybe I wouldn't have come back. But, you know, it's nice to have a good team come back and be able to play for a super regional.
Thanks, Coach Avent, Josh, Reed.
Thank you all.
Good luck.